To pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Superintendent, do we have a special recognition this evening?
Yes, Madam Chair, we do. Good evening. Tonight, we have several students in attendance who deserve to be publicly recognized for their recent outstanding accomplishments. We are actually recognizing one student who couldn't attend our board meeting last month for being selected in the All-State Band. We also have students from Cousins Middle School and Alcovy High School's Reading Bowl teams. When I call your name, please come forward to accept your certificate of recognition from our school board chair, Mrs. Abigail Coggin. First up tonight, I'd like to call Justin Williams from Eastside High School. Last month, we recognized all middle and high school students who were selected to participate in the All-State Band. Justin could not attend the meeting because he was participating in the state tennis tournament that evening. While Justin poses for a picture, which we've already done that, right? I'm reading a little bit slower than he's moving. Just let me tell you about Justin's accomplishment. In order to be selected for All-State Band, students must pass 2 levels of auditions, the district level and the state level. After a blind audition process that began with thousands of students from every district in Georgia, only a select group of students were chosen to participate in the All-State Band. This accomplishment represents the highest recognition possible for individual student musicians in our state and will most likely result in college scholarships offers when Justin graduates and applies to a college or university of his choice. Newton County School System actually had 6 students selected to participate in All-State Band and 1 student selected as an alternate for All-State Band. Justin was selected for All-State Band because of his expertise with the trumpet. Congratulations, Justin. We are proud of you. Next on our list, I'd like to take the opportunity to honor the students from both Cousins Middle School and Alcovy High School's Reading Bowl teams. I am so very proud of these students as these 2 teams worked hard to win first place at the recent regional Helen Ruffin Reading Bowl held at Clayton State University. To prepare for the Helen Ruffin Reading Bowl, students at the middle school level read numerous books from the 2014-15 Georgia Children's Book Award nominee list. High school students read nominated books from the 2014-2015 Georgia Peach Book Award for Teen Readers list. The students spend hundreds of hours reading, creating questions, taking quizzes, studying, and attending meetings and practices in preparation for the county and regional reading bowls. The Cousins Middle School and Alcovy High School's teams actually won the school system reading bowl and then followed up with their championship performances at the Helen Ruffin Regional Reading Bowl. So they were the school system champions, and then they went to the regional bowl and they won there as well. First, I'd like to recognize the members of Cousins Middle School's Reading Bowl team. When I call your name, please come forward to accept your certificate of recognition. And Sherry, are you going to put them together as a group, or are you going to take individuals and then? Okay, so we'll call you back up afterwards for a group picture. Raven Branch. Jonathan Bradley. Bryce Freeman. Jada Harrison. Damari Jones. Joyce Lee.
There's a band concert taking
Oh,
place
gotcha.
at Cousins tonight.
Band concert tonight. Kira Lovejoy. And Noah Whitehead. Yay. Come on, Miss Pete. Oh, Lord. The Cousins Reading Bowl team is actually coached by Mrs. Patrice Peak. She just came up. Let's congratulate Mrs. Peak and the members of the Cousins Middle School Reading Bowl team for representing their school and our system so very well. At this time, I'd like to recognize the members of the Alcovy High School Reading Bowl team. When I call your name, please come forward to accept your certificate. Alicia Baker. Is that right?
It's Elisha.
Elisha Baker. Sorry, honey. Elisha Baker. Elizabeth Baker. Allison Ballou. Is that right? The last name? Very good. Katie Bryans. Bailey Friedman. Chelsea Grant. Tapijah Hill. Hannah Maddox. And Bryce Moncrief. Did I get it right, Bryce? Okay. Yep. The Alcovy High School Reading Bowl team is coached by Mrs. May Zhang. Are you here, Mrs. Zhang? Yay! Congratulations.
All right, everybody right here. All right.
Let's take a final moment to congratulate our All-State Band representative and all of our Helen Ruffing Reading Bowl champions. I've said it over and over again, our students continuously prove that they can compete with anyone, anywhere, whether it's regional, state, or even national competition. Not only do they compete, but they win. The number of regional and state championships we have recognized just in this school year alone is absolutely amazing, and I'm extremely proud. The students who attend Newton County schools are definitely a force with which to be reckoned. The success of our students is a testament not only to our students, but also to the parents who are here, extended family, and teachers who support them on a daily basis. Congratulations again on a job well done. Everybody, we're going to celebrate you one more time. Oh, we got one more. And tell me your name. Jada. Okay, Jada, let me go back to my page here. Jada Harrison. So we're going to recognize Jada. She is a member of the Cousins Middle School Reading Bowl team. We're going to take your picture, Jada. You want to redo the group?
Gotcha.
Almost got me there. Again, thank you and congratulations on a job well done. We are extremely proud of our students. This concludes the recognition portion of this evening's meeting. If you've looked at our agenda, you've no doubt noticed that tonight's meeting may be rather lengthy. We welcome you to stay for the remainder of the meeting, but we know that this is an extremely busy time of the school year, so please don't feel obligated to stay if you have other business that you need to attend to. If that's the case, then now would be an appropriate time for you to exit as the board prepares to review and discuss the many items on the agenda. Thank you for being here.
Miss Allen, do we have any no public participation? All right, I need a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Do we have a second? All in favor? Aye. All right, approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to our superintendent's reports, Dr. Lockhart.
Yes, financial report by Ms.
Erica, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Good evening. Newton County School System SPLOST 4 distribution is $2,409, which is an increase of $35,639 from last month's collection. The average for the first 3 months of SPLOST 4 collections is $865,439. The monthly average for SPLOST 3 was $881,483. The March TAVT collection was $575. Property tax revenue collections are 99.69% collected this year versus 95.51% collected last year at this time. And expenditures are within budget at 80.44% spent with 83.33% of the year complete.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Robinson? Thank you. Now, Dr. Lockhart.
Yes, Madam Chair. Just a few items to bring to your attention. Maintenance and operations. Maintenance received 822 work requests in April 2015, with 631 having been completed. There are 191 remaining work orders in progress. Transportation, just want to let you know that the average per gallon cost for diesel fuel was purchased during April was $2.25. This same time last year, that was $3.42. In nutrition, I just want to bring to you item 2. There were a total of 115,473 breakfast meals served in April. And as far as lunch goes in April, it was 253,579 meals served. Also bring to your attention item number 5. School nutrition featured fresh baked sweet potatoes on April menus at all grade levels as the locally grown produce item in April. And these sweet potatoes came from Herndon Farms in Georgia. Those are the items of highlight from the operations report, unless there are any specific questions.
Any questions? All right, thank you. I see you have a presentation.
Yes, ma'am. If someone could dim a light for me, please. Want to briefly share with you our Newton County School System Human Resources and Development proposal for effective teacher retention and teachers who work in critical shortage areas. Newton County, like many other districts, we're always striving to make sure that we have both competitive packages as well as ways to attract and retain teachers, effective teachers here in the district. And after working with our secondary administrators and talking with the superintendent's leadership team, we have a proposal that actually has been included in the tentative budget as a line item, and I just want to share with you more detail about some of the things that we're getting ready to work on with your approval. When we look at HR, when it comes to trying to get teachers, we have determined there are 4 areas that we really want to look at: recruitment, retention, development, and hard-to-staff schools. The first item, of course, is recruitment. We're finding that colleges of education are not producing as many teachers as they have in years past. So therefore, we have to make sure that we have attractive packages for those who we're trying to recruit to Newton County. The first thing we're doing is we're identifying which subject areas are of critical need in Newton County. There are several critical shortage areas that are hard to find certain people certified to teach in. In Newton County, after looking at it, we're really focusing on high school and middle school mathematics. We're also focusing on foreign languages, specifically Spanish. And so with those being our areas of critical need, we want to provide a critical shortage stipend to veteran current teachers as well as new entry-level teachers each year that they sign or renew a contract with the Newton County school system. I'll give you more details on that in just a moment. With retention, of course, getting the teacher here is one thing. We also want to look at what we need to do in order to retain them. We want to provide that critical shortage supplement to the veteran new teachers that has just been highlighted before. We have a professional personnel resignation letter that has been sent out to all of the principals, and it's aligned with our policy GBO about practices in order to make sure that we thoroughly vet when a teacher asks to be released from a contract prior to the end of the school year. We are looking over the summer. We want to develop and refine a teacher intervention process and use system exit interview protocol if an intervention is unsuccessful. Sometimes a teacher will come to a school leader and they may say, I want to resign or I need to resign. We want to make sure there is an intervention process in place so that we thoroughly see what we can do to try to retain that teacher. If we're not successful with any interventions in trying to support and retain the teacher, then we definitely want to make sure that our system exit interview is extremely comprehensive so that we can get to the root cause as to why the teacher is leaving. We want to make sure that we do everything to retain effective teachers, and then if we're unsuccessful with that, try to find out what could have happened for them to leave so that we can use that for process improvement. Also, with retention, the 4th bullet there is develop district level recognition committee for teachers and staff. We believe in celebrating. That's extremely important in any school culture. We want to take that to a new level from a district perspective so that we standardize what recognition looks like so that we reward those who are doing the great work that we see each and every day. Another component we have to look at is, of course, the development. Having strong teachers is one thing, but you have to keep them strong and make sure that they're ready for the day and age of the students that they're currently serving. When we look at our critical shortage areas with math and our foreign language, we're looking at providing stipends to teachers in critical shortage areas for the completion of professional development hours as designated by the Newton County School System at a rate of $30 per hour. So as we get teachers in, we want to make sure that we provide them a voluntary opportunity in order to get the type of development they need so that they're still the best of their craft. The 4th item that we are going to start to study is what we call hard-to-staff schools. Hard-to-staff schools are typically schools where you see a high turnover rate. And what we want to do is conduct an internal review of the school human resource program to determine root causes for high turnover. And we need to establish if turnover is necessary or unnecessary. There are situations in which high turnover may be the appropriate thing. What we want to do is determine if it is appropriate or not, and what are the causes for that. And once we determine those causes, we then will put a professional development program in place for the school-based leadership team in order to try to see what we can do in order to remedy any type of issues that may be going on with keeping teachers on staff at those schools. This goes back to, this is the critical shortage supplement guidelines I was speaking of as far as an incentive for those math teachers and for the foreign language teachers. Please humor me as I read this to you, but I just want to make sure everybody's clear. Supplement is to be paid during the September pay period after the critical shortage employee, also known as a CSE, signs his or her contract for the upcoming school year. If a CSE is hired after September 1st of the year for the remainder of the current school year, the supplement will be paid the next pay period after signing. CSE signs and agrees to have the supplement deducted from annual pay if he or she leaves NCSS prior to the fulfillment of the annual contract for any reason. Let me stop just for a moment there. So, it's contract signing season now. If they accept the supplement, we are looking at the supplement being $500. They sign now, September comes, their September paycheck, they get the $500 supplement. If for some reason they choose not to honor their contract for the remainder of the school year, then they must return their supplement back to us. A CSE, let me just make sure how, okay. A CSE may opt out of receiving the critical shortage bonus by checking the no box on the critical shortage addendum attached to the contract. If a CSE checks no and opts out of receiving the supplement, there will be no financial penalty if the employee is released from a contract. For whatever reason, a teacher may choose not to accept the supplement each year, and if they do so, they leave the school system or elect to leave the school system. If we release them from a contract, there's no financial penalty. We won't take anything from them. If the CSE resigns due to mutual agreement among the principal, teacher, and human resources director, there's no financial penalty. There must be good fit with every teacher in every school. If for some reason we see there's not good fit and that the best thing to do is for the teacher to resign, then we will not penalize that person. What you see here is, again, we talked about the intervention and interview program. Again, teachers who voluntarily choose to leave NCSS will first have their case evaluated to determine what, if any, interventions can be put in place that will retain the teacher in the system. If this is not successful, teachers must undergo a district design exit interview process for the purpose of studying why teachers have chosen to leave the school system. This data will be used to review current practices and make adjustments if deemed necessary. And that concludes the proposal. We just want to share with you where we are with our creating protocol, trying to make sure that we can keep the best and brightest among us, as well as recruit and find some of those diamonds in the rough that need to be joining us here in the Newton County School System. Are there any questions?
Any questions from our board members?
Yes, I have a comment, maybe.
Yes, sir.
Direct my attention. I noticed in the budget, in the detailed functions, there are line items saying supplement. Is this the result
Yes, sir.
of those line items that?
Yes, sir. This is it.
Okay. And that accumulate back to the 125,000?
121,500, yes, sir, which would be the supplements. That'll include recognition. You're right, so supplements and recognition, that's what that will be for. And as well as professional development for teachers who choose to take their professional development.
Okay, and that's directly?
Yes, sir.
result? Okay, just wanted to understand it. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Dr. Lockhart.
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you to the staff for coming up with a great plan.
We're really excited and ready to move forward on it.
Moving on to item B, curriculum instruction and technology.
Yes, Madam Chair, just a few items to bring to your attention in the CIT report. Item number one, approximately 7,000 walkthroughs have been conducted this school year in the Newton County School System. Just want to point that out. There's an old saying, you inspect what you expect. And so there's been a lot of inspection going on here, in which we've talked with our staff, trying to make sure that we're providing the best quality instruction for our students. Item three, In late April, the Newton College and Career Academy and the Technology Department distributed this year's last set of computers to low-income families. This Desktops for Ed program has been highly successful. This distribution in April provided 25 families with a refurbished computer. And we've shared this before, but Dr. Shattuck and Mr. Walker, over the CEO over the Career Academy, they've really done something outstanding with this. If you don't mind, I'd like to give them a round of applause just for the work that they've done for our community. The next thing I'd like to share is on page 2, item 7. Dr. Shattuck's our technology director, has been very busy. He recently visited Walton County and actually visited Dougherty County. He's trying to learn more about a one-to-one initiative for us to possibly pilot or implement here in the school system. So again, we're just really excited to see what he's learning about possible one-to-one student-to-computer options, if that's something feasible for us here in the Newton County school system in the future. The next item I'd like to share is on page 3. This is item 11. It's the last paragraph, item 11. The 2015 Parent Involvement Survey is available online for parents to access from May 5th to the 16th. Parents can access the survey through the NCSS website link. Written copies of the survey are available at each school for any parent who does not have computer access or prefers to use a written copy. Very important that we get that information from our parents. We really want that parental involvement so that we can learn how we can best serve our students. I just want to add on page 413, the agriculture students from the FFA chapters from all of our high schools attended the state FFA convention during the month of April. 2 of those students, Hunter Davidson from Eastside and Zach Bagley from Alcovey, were named as state winners at the event and will go on to compete at the national convention. And we're just really proud of all the work our students do, not only in agriculture, but throughout the school system. That concludes my portion of the CIT report today, unless there are any questions.
Any questions? All right. If not, we have another presentation. Ms.
Yes,
Buck.
Madam Chair, if you don't mind, can I give you the enrollment report first?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm sorry, that's fine.
No problem. The enrollment report as of May 12th, 2015, we currently sit at 19,731 students. The same time last year was 19,343 students, so that's an increase of 388 students as of this time.
All right. Now, Ms. Buck, thank you.
Good evening. Several months back, I came and gave the board an update about the College and Career Readiness Action Plan. This plan developed out of a meeting that Superintendent Fury organized about a year and a half ago, where we pulled together K-12 administrators, counselors, teachers, and district office staff to discuss SAT and ACT scores and what we could do as a district to improve those scores. That plan morphed into what we now have as the College and Career Readiness Action Plan, that is a comprehensive plan to address college and career readiness. We changed some of our teacher leader programs to address this as well, and we now have college and career readiness teacher leaders in each of our schools. And I'm very excited to share this end of the year summary, because when we started out this journey at the beginning of the school year, I was very clear to the entire group that I thought this would be a plan where it took us several years to turn all of our red items into green items. But I'm excited to report to you that it did not take as long as I expected. We have an amazing group of teachers that works on this plan from each school. And we had 7 strategies or areas of action, and then we had 53 action steps that went along with that. So you can see why I thought that it might take us some time. But I'm proud to report that 83% of those action steps were either fully operational or emergent on that plan. And the way that we monitor these plans is that the school level plans are monitored on a bi-monthly basis alongside the district plans. And so each school has a district plan, and their district plan has a column at the end for their school level actions for that plan. And they monitored those alongside the district plan, and we kept up with it for the entire year. Some of the major accomplishments that we had this year was the District College Awareness Day during Georgia Apply to College Week. If you're on Twitter, you may have noticed all the pictures district-wide of our students and our teachers celebrating college awareness during that week. And it went from our pre-K kids all the way up to our seniors, which was really exciting. And some of our seniors actually went to the elementary schools on that day and spoke to the elementary schools about what it's like to be a senior and getting ready to go into college. We had career fairs in all of our elementary school. I was privileged to go and speak at one of those career fairs today, and it was a great experience to get to talk about, my educational journey and what we have done to get to the careers that we're in. The revision to the NCSS website to include college and career ready information, Ms. Davis Vineyard was instrumental in that, and she attended our meetings and listened to the teachers' plans. And we actually have plans to expand that even further to where we divide it into elementary, middle, and high school for the upcoming year. You were generous to approve the extended learning opportunities for our teachers and our administrators back in the fall, and that was part of this plan as well. Increased integration of writing. We updated our curriculum maps to include more writing exercises. We also worked with Dr. Jordan to bring in some speakers from the Georgia Center for Assessment to talk to our teachers about writing and what's expected on the new assessments. Our academies for elementary and secondary teachers, we expanded the elementary academy and offered a secondary academy to reach our teachers in the summer, and they have a stipend to come in and learn about research-based instructional strategies over the summer to get ready for the next school year. High school courses at all of the middle school. I'm very, very proud of this. This past year we had coordinate algebra in all of our middle schools, and most of our middle schools also had an elective. I'm excited to report that next year, all of our middle schools will have not only algebra, but they'll also have physical science, and each school will have at least 2 electives that they'll be offering for middle school students to get high school credit. And that's really important because it offers those students a chance to take dual enrollment or AP courses when they get into high school at a higher level. And so it's a great opportunity for our students. And then finally, increased AP and dual enrollment opportunities at all of our high school. We have increased the number of AP courses that we offer as a district by about 30% over the past school year, and that was very exciting, and it's going to increase even more for the next school year. And we've also increased dual enrollment opportunities at all of our high schools. Dr. Owens is here tonight, and I want to share a special opportunity that's going to happen for Alcovey High School for the next school year. We are partnering with the Chamber of Commerce as well as with Georgia Piedmont Technical College to offer a special dual enrollment course at Alcovey High School. This course is going to be developed because of the economic needs of our county, and it's going to be in the area of hospitality and tourism. So the students will go through dual enrollment courses, and these courses will then lend themselves to a technical certificate at the end of the school year, which helps with not only career readiness but also college readiness, because those kids will then be able to go into a program at Georgia Piedmont Technical College to receive a degree, an associate's degree later on. So I'm very excited about that opportunity with Alcovey High School. So I will take any questions that you have.
Board members, do you have any questions for Ms. Buff?
Yes, I have a question, but I don't know how to ask it on your dual enrollment.
Okay.
What is our track record on the dual? Is there a number of students in the dual enrollment program?
There is a
And
number.
of students in the AP program?
Yes, there absolutely is. I don't have that number available right now. I can definitely get that for you. But just to share a little bit of background on why Alcovey is going to have this program at their school, because of where Alcovey is located, traditionally their students don't participate as high of a rate as the other schools because it's a further distance to drive. So that's one of the reasons that we're offering this program at the school, so those students have the opportunity to take advantage of dual enrollment in their own school. So that's one of the reasons we're really excited about that program.
Great.
Okay, but I would appreciate if you share
Absolutely.
the historical data.
Absolutely. I'll be able to
Thank you
get that
kindly.
for you pretty quick.
And if I may, the last data that came out from the state, they provided us with a map, and it was color-coded. And our school system is among the top in the state in dual enrollment with the technical schools. So We have a significant number of students. Our Newton County is colored red. I have the chart in my office. I was just looking at it today. So as far as the technical schools are concerned, we're doing a really great job getting our kids in there. I'll give you a copy of the chart. You will see it before we leave.
Well, I appreciate that. I hope we can change the language on some of our other indices, and start using the top quartile instead of, the state average. I guess we can take the dual enrollment and AP program and set the model to be the best and drag the other indices along with it. So now we can start saying we're in the top quartile instead of we beat the state average by 0.2 points,
Well, I can
Different
tell you our
approach.
AP enrollment is up. That's part of the awards that the high schools received for recognition. Part of that is because their AP enrollment is high in those STEM areas. So that's something that I can attest to. But I'll be able to get you those numbers. It won't
Appreciate
take me
it.
very
Thank you.
long.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, question is, within the high schools, are the AP classes, is there a preference by the counselors in terms of what they, for lack of a better word, try to sell to the students, AP versus dual enrollment? Is there a preference in the schools?
It's really, the counseling sessions that are provided to students when it comes to choosing AP or dual enrollment is really based upon the individual student and on what the student's plans are after high school. And so that's kind of how it works. A lot of times the counselors will ask the student to choose both. Sometimes, depending on what school they're going to go to after high school, they may push them into more AP classes, but it really is dependent upon the student's plan after they graduate from high school.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on. Old business, there is none, so we move on to item A in our new business. Miss Dr. Lockhart.
Yes, ma'am. Item A, adoption of tentative budget. Superintendent recommends that the board adopt the tentative budget for FY 2016 for all governmental funds to be advertised in newspaper for the approval of a final budget on June 23rd, 2015. Attached are chart choices A, B, C, and D for the general fund, which were presented to the board at the budget work session. The superintendent recommends chart C. And just a little bit of background, the budget for board approval consists of all governmental funds. That's our general funds, state grants, special revenue funds, capital project funds, debt service funds, school food service funds, school principal accounts, and the after-school program. And that concludes item A, and we're requesting board action this evening.
So I'd like to make a motion to,
Excuse me, unread this.
Can I make one comment before we jump in there? We got word late Friday afternoon regarding our school resource officers and the county commissioners approving $1 per hour pay raise for the school resource officers, for all of the police officers in the sheriff's department. And so, of course, that was not included in our budget when we did our work session. So we've gathered the information, and the total cost is about $21,000 that will need to be added to the budget. So if and when you decide to approve the tentative budget, what will happen is we will have to include that in the budget and produce new documents to review with that. So everything would change by $21,000. That's what it would look like.
Okay, so what we have, chart C right now that we're looking at, would change by $21,000.
Each year.
And so that's part of what we would vote on tonight.
Yeah, so what we'll ask you to do is to approve the tentative budget with the amendment of the line item for SROs to include the pay raise.
All right.
so I was go get a motion, then wait for discussion after the motion and the second. I'd like to move that we approve the tentative budget to amend the budget to include the resource officers.
Okay.
pay.
All right. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, it's been properly seconded.
Now discussion.
Now it's open for discussion.
On all items?
Yes. Well, yes, this
Budget.
item, yes, the budget, yes.
Well, I'm disappointed in the fact that we didn't examine the functions from a principle of zero-based budgeting. I was disappointed that we were given, this big thing here, all kind of numbers. And it's a deviation from what I've experienced before. And I have a lot of questions throughout, and I reviewed by functions. And I'm just not prepared with the questions that I have outstanding, although the explanations may be simple, but I still don't know it. And you ask me to approve something I'm not sure and maybe don't support. And I don't, and I thought we would, we'll do that, but I don't know if it's the opportune time to do it now. So I don't know where to go from here.
If you have questions, I mean, obviously, now would be the time to ask.
Okay, I'll ask them then. Page 2 of the budget, textbooks. We've got $750,000 for textbooks. And I'll be interested in knowing what have we done for online curriculum. And we're ordering new books and replacements. So what are we doing to eliminate the purchase of books? What have we done?
I don't know if you want to. The textbooks, the line item in the textbooks includes new textbook purchases. So they haven't looked yet, and that's for foreign language adoption. The others are for replacement textbooks. So they're for books that we already have in our hands that we're replacing in an effort to maintain what we currently have as we move forward into adoption cycles. We really, have, as a matter of fact, with the elementary schools, there is an online component of their materials. There's an online component of the materials that we've examined up to this point and have implemented and utilized. But the money that you see there is not new materials, it's replacement materials of old materials that we have to be able to utilize and give to the students. Once we begin the adoption process with the foreign language adoption, for example, we'll be looking at what's out there in terms of online accessibility. But you also have to keep in mind when you're looking at online programming, the availability of and access to the programs that students would have if they don't have the technology to support the online tools. And so as we look at textbook adoptions, that's what we look for. We look for anything that is connected to the materials that we have to teach that provides digital access. Now, there are free pieces online that are provided by the state, and we actually use those free pieces now to supplement what we already have. So the line item covers the cost of replacement for text and is budgeting for a textbook adoption. Our foreign language teachers haven't had a textbook adoption in a very long time, and it's their turn right now.
Well, I appreciate what you're saying, but I think we should show more of a positive approach to going online, because that's where we're going. The state is going in that direction. And I think we're just spending good money after bad if we are replenishing old textbooks and we are not going forward with the online instruction. I think we're missing out on an opportunity. And it's not clearly delineated, even though you said that, as to how we're going to go about doing it and what our achievement is going to be. We're talking dollars, and that's the way I like to explain it. How do we reduce the amount? And another one is that page 24, we had fleet insurance dropped, I think about $30,000. What did we do to get that reduction in, and can we do more of it?
White bar.
I think we just over budgeted a little last year and we adjusted it down. We had expected it to go up last year. But there's nothing that we did to make it less. Last year we expected a big increase because of some improvements in the past couple of years. And luckily it didn't happen.
Okay. Another one, we are adding a new director salary grade, and we're going to change the organization chart in that regard. How do we justify it?
That came from the salary study. That the salary study shows on the operational side of the organizational chart that you've got two people doing the work that they can't find in the salary study in any other district, where you've got Jan Lumens covering school nutrition, maintenance and operations, and school safety, and Mike Barr covering transportation and procurement. And there's one other thing. There's something I'm missing there. At the end of the day, there's not even a comparative to compare them to, because no other district, even in the 7 that we studied, has that line item. So what the recommendation was to add the executive director to take the flatness out of the organizational chart. What you have is just me and Dr. Lockhart. And so now you're trying to rebuild, but not as an assistant superintendent as it once was with 3 people there. But that's coming directly from the salary study.
Well, you know, as I was saying, you asked for it. No, but I don't, you know, I understand what the salary study did, but I also think that we are getting it because no one else got it. And now we want to be like the others. We want to get one.
The others have assistant superintendents of, or deputy superintendents of, that oversee the whole thing, and then they have executive directors that line up underneath them, and then they have directors that line up underneath them, even in systems our size. You only have to look down the road a couple of different directions to see that at the central office, in our central office, we have a very skeletal organization, and we are just very fortunate that we have really good people who are willing to wear multiple hats. As a matter of fact, I attended the Teacher of the Year celebration on Friday in Atlanta and sat with another superintendent, and they were absolutely amazed at the amount of work that is accomplished in our district, and also that with the number of central office staff we have in place in order to make that happen. So at some point, we've got to add some, take the flatness out of the organizational chart and begin to delineate duties and responsibilities so that the distribution is more equitable than what it has been. People have taken on the duties and responsibilities because they're good people and they love our school system. These people in this room, as a matter of fact, could go someplace else and make more money and do less work. So that's why that item is added, because the duties and responsibilities as identified in the salary study it calls for that. We need some support on that side. We didn't add anything on the teaching and learning side, not yet, but there needs to be an adjustment at some point on that side as well to take the flatness out of the organization. So, but I understand what you're saying, but that's where that came from.
Okay. And also, I don't have the item number, but it comes under Mr. Barr's domain, that we have an increase of about $60,000 as opposed to what we budgeted for last year. And it's lumped with about 3 or 4 different categories. Can you break that down in terms of what that is all about? I'll give you the code if I can find it. Be patient, please. Can't see the numbers in there, 26. Mr. Boy, you should remember that item, $80,000 you requested?
There's an increase in computer software fees, and I think it was a difference of approximately $63,000.
Yes, that's the one. What page is that on, please, sir?
That's on page 30.
Those are licenses?
That's additional licenses for GPS equipment that we added last year with board approval. And at that time, at the time of that approval, we indicated that it would be included in the FY16 budget.
Well, that may be true, but I don't know how do I associate the efficiency in the operation with the amount of funds that we're spending.
And I can get you some.
In transportation, we got more supervision over there than we ever had. Now we got more software and programs to support the thing. And I don't know if I can associate any improvements that you've had in transportation.
Well, in fairness, we operate with a lot less people than we once did, approximately 50 people. So I think there's something to be said in that. So we are in a situation where we must leverage technology to its maximum capabilities in order to maintain that. And so I can get you some information relative to increased efficiencies through the GPS, but I can tell you, it is a wonderful thing in knowing where the buses are, if they're on the route, if they're not on the route, when parents call where their children are. I think it's a worthwhile investment, but I can certainly get some information to you about increased efficiency.
Well, I would appreciate that, and
Okay.
it will ease my fears as to we're not throwing good money after bad.
Mr. Bart, that's the tracking system that you guys have over there, that it can tell you like exactly the time it arrived at the bus stop, if the
That's
bus
correct.
actually stopped
Right.
and stuff. Okay. That's what I thought.
Okay, I'll be satisfied with the additional information you provide.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a question, just for clarity, Sam.
Yes.
The recommendation is for item C, and we did discuss at the work session about the new positions that you were
We did.
asking, because I asked that question. And I know in that question, when you guys answered that question, you said with the possibility of maybe looking at, maybe on down the line, some more positions, especially in the area of testing for Dr. Jordan with all the requirements. If we go with C, would that, like looking at how the ending fund balances are, would that leave like room? Like, did you guys consider that?
Yeah, we did, one of the positions that's recommended is a testing coordinator. So Dr. Jordan's request to have some help is in the budget. We're trying to wait just to see what the actual outcome of the budget is before we make any other moves.
Okay.
Chart C leaves you about 2 million less than the recommendation, so we're trying to stay at that 9 million level and then revisit in November. And then if any adjustments need to be made, we can do so at that time.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
One other comment. The salary guide, we're moving on the increase by the number C chart that you're talking about. Half.
Yeah, half.
But we have not done anything in your explanation about job,
Yes,
what's the word? Job descriptions.
Right.
Outdated.
yes.
When do you think that we can get that? Because to me, it gives the appearance that we got the salary out and the big money makers out, and they're pleased with it. But we got the worker bees that, and that's the lower, the bus drivers and all those folks. And then we gotta wait for the salary, job evaluations.
Okay, so.
With that, if we, excuse me,
Oops, sorry.
if we do go through that process,
Mhm.
and will the official date, start pay date be the same? Or if it takes us 3 months to get the
Right.
other job description down and do it?
Right.
Will we go retro back and make everybody at the same time? And if not, why not?
We would have to, that would be something that the board would have to consider when we are hoping that we can get it all prepared for a work session, similar to what we've done in the past, where we come together and look at it. And then we would prepare what that would look like. If the board wishes to retro anybody that would be retro paid, then this is what the number would be. And then that would be one of the options that you could choose from, or you could start, effective immediately, tomorrow, if the funds are available. To answer your question, though, the first part of your question, keep in mind that the salary study recommendation includes everybody. It's not the high-paid people. It is everybody who works in the school system is going to go back halfway, according if we select chart C, halfway to where they would have been paid on the salary schedule in 2008, 2009. And if you'll recall, when we looked specifically at the non-certificated side of the ledger, it was almost a 10% pay raise. So everybody will have an increase. What you're speaking of is to go back and to look more closely at job descriptions, to put classifications of people together, make sure that if you and I are both responsible for wearing blue shoes, you and I are paid the same for wearing those blue shoes, just as an example. And so that work is really intensive and involved. And so we would prefer to wait and get everything realigned the correct way, so that as we begin a process for revision of job descriptions and workloads, that there is a definite process in place going forward. So I hope that answers your question, but everybody will receive a halfway to where they should have been. So if you were at 7 years in 2008 and 6 years have gone by, you would go back to that salary schedule and look at 13 years, and that's what you should have been paid. And for the sake of discussion, if that was $20, you would go back to $10, and then that's what you would be paid. And then in November in our work session, depending upon what the digest does, depending upon all the factors that play into our budget, then you could look at a potential adjustment moving forward, whether that's going the full way in FY17 or adding another 1% to the TRS, or not TRS, the 403B. There are multiple options moving forward.
One other comment, and if it's not included, let me know if it is. Did we consider a pay raise for the bus drivers who are doing field trips? They haven't gotten one in years. So was that any consideration in the budget?
Mr. Barr, I don't have a specific answer.
I don't think that was looked at. I think their base pay is what.
The base pay.
If not, if we didn't, why not?
We did a comprehensive study that looked at job for job. We didn't put in there specific job descriptions, like because it's over and beyond what a bus driver would do. It's in addition to their normal routes. And so
I understand it, but it's a function that they're performing, and they're doing it at a lease rate, and they're doing the same thing, driving on field trips, have the same responsibilities, same functions, but they're driving at a much less rate of pay. And I think it's time to upgrade that, because it's another area that the pay should increase.
I think that's something that we could take a look at.
Okay.
within the-
as we move forward with the part phase 2. So we're just,
I don't know what phase 2 is.
what I'm just talking about with the looking job for job, because that's not included in the chart C.
Well, I understand, that's why I raised the question. It's not there. And I'm saying it should be in this tentative budget proposal.
Well, just to, address that, there are also people who would say that they do additional duties and responsibilities beyond what their normal job duties are, and they don't get an additional pay for that. They get paid the rate that they're paid. For example, teachers, when they work after school to provide professional, or to go to a professional learning session or to tutor students. Years ago, we used to pay them based upon their state-based salary, which for some teachers might be a $50 an hour pay raise, or pay for that session. But due to the economic troubles that we've encountered, the pay rate has been a flat $25. So that's not based upon their, or $30 now. It's not based upon their, on the salary study itself. That's so, you could, there are so many different groups of people that could be impacted with that, but we'll be happy to look at all of them to see what can be done with respect to that.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but in some of the field trips that they take on is out of cooperation with whatever group it is, because they like certain drivers and they work out a price that pay them a certain fee, like a booster club or something like that, and that worked out between the two entities.
There's an established rate for
Right.
mileage and an established rate, an hourly rate for the
Right.
drivers. Right. And one thing to consider is that that payment to the bus drivers is coming out of their instructional money or money that they've raised at the school. And I would also say that it's not an atypical pay structure. I mean, that's widely used in school districts, different pay rates for field trips and for base pay. And our base pay is very competitive. We're not struggling like some school districts with recruitment of drivers at this time. So that's a positive.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barr. If there are no more questions, and the motion on the floor is to accept chart C in addition to the $21,000 for the SROs. That is the motion, and it has been seconded, so we need to take a vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, great. Then chart C passes with the addition of the 21,000 for SROs. All right, thank you. Item B.
Item B, this is Newton County School System class size resolution. The superintendent recommends approval of a class size resolution for submission to the State Department of Education, which reflects the instructional program class size that the Newton County School System may utilize during the 2015-2016 school year that are above current State Board of Education requirements. This is a resolution that we have passed for several years, and this actually began back in 2007. So this is a continuation. For us, this is also in alignment with the IE squared model.
All right, thank you. Any questions on item B? All right, we will vote on that next week. Item C.
Item C, Madam Chair, is a resolution for waiver for alternative non-traditional education programs. The superintendent recommends the approval of a resolution for a waiver of Rule 160-4-8.12, which applies to instructional time for middle school students in an alternative program. Again, this is a waiver that we have asked for in the past and has been approved in the past and this is in conjunction with our ombudsman program.
Any questions? Thank you. Moving on to item D and E. Satterfield.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Item D, the superintendent recommends the approval of the attached agreements between the Newton County School System and the following individuals to provide physical therapy and occupational therapy services to students with disabilities in accordance with their individual education programs. The school system is required to provide the physical therapy and occupational therapy for students whose IEPs recommend these services. We provide these services through contractual agreements with 2 physical therapists and 7 occupational therapists. We have 1 speech therapist with a contractual agreement. The attached agreements, the agreements are attached. I'm sorry.
All right. Do we have any questions for Mr. Satterfield on item D? All right. We need to take a vote on that. Do we have a motion to approve item D?
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been properly seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on. E.
Okay, item E. Superintendent recommends the approval of the attached agreements between the Newton County School System and the following providers to provide speech services, occupational therapy, physical therapy, vision services, and deaf, hard of hearing services to students with disabilities in accordance to their IEPs for the 2015-16 school year. The contractual agreements with the providers are attached.
All right, any questions for item E? Do we have a motion to approve item E?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item F. Ms. Buff.
The superintendent recommends the student assessment software solution needed for the school system be purchased from Illuminate Education of Irvine, California. We were notified on April 30th that the ThinkGate solution, which we were currently using, would cease to exist starting on May 1st. So this is a replacement software for assessment. There was an RFP that was issued on March 27th. The products were reviewed by a group of NCSS teachers and administrators, and this system will cover our benchmark, formative, summative, and student learning objectives in electronic or paper format when necessary. The total estimated contract value is $135,000, and it will be paid with FY16 funds upon final approval of the FY16 budget.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Guess there are none. All right, thank you. Ms. Lumens. I think you have the next 4 items, if I counted correctly.
Thank you. Good evening. Item G, the superintendent recommends the bread and associated items needed for the school nutrition program be purchased from Earth Grains Baking Company of Decatur, Georgia. In an effort to secure better pricing options, the procurement department is utilizing a recently enacted State of Georgia statewide contract for bread and related bakery items. This statewide contract will allow school systems and agencies statewide to aggregate their spending and thus deliver better pricing. The estimated value of this contract is $150,000. This cost will be paid with budgeted FY16 S&P funds upon approval of the FY16 budget.
Okay, any questions? Moving on.
Okay, item H, the superintendent recommends the annual renewable contracts awarded to the following 2 vendors be renewed for an additional contract term. The first vendor is Uniforms Unlimited for our uniforms for the school nutrition program. The contract was originally awarded on May 15th, 2012. The vendor has met all contractual requirements and has agreed to continue their services under the current terms and conditions of the contract. The estimated annual contract value is $50,000. This cost will be paid for with budgeted FY16 S&P funds upon approval of the FY16 budget. Manning Brothers Food Service Equipment is our second vendor. The contract was originally awarded on June 16th, 2013. The vendor has met all contractual requirements and has agreed to continue their services under the current terms and conditions of the contract. This cost will be paid for with budgeted FY16 S&P funds upon approval of the FY16 budget.
Any questions? All right, let's move on.
Item I, the superintendent recommends the annual renewable contract awarded to Gas South of Atlanta, Georgia for the provision of natural gas to selected schools and facilities be renewed for an additional contract term. This was a request for proposal for the provision and delivery of natural gas and was originally opened on March the 26th, 2013. After review, it was determined the proposals submitted by Gas South offered the best value to the school system, and they have met all contractual conditions. The estimated value is $70,000. This cost will be paid for with budgeted FY15 and FY16 general funds upon approval of the FY16 budget.
All right, any questions? It's none, so let's move on.
Item J, the superintendent recommends the annual renewable contract for electrical services awarded to Osborne Electrical Contractors Incorporated of Covington, Georgia, be renewed for an additional contract term. The contract was originally awarded on May 20th, 2014. The vendor has performed satisfactorily, met all contractual requirements, and has agreed to continue their services under the current terms and conditions of the contract. The estimated annual value of this contract is $125,000. This cost will be paid for with budgeted FY15 and FY16 general funds, again upon approval of the FY16 budget.
Any questions? All right, thank you. Mr. Barr, you're up.
In item K, the superintendent recommends the identified items be declared surplus and disposed of per board policy DO. And those items are included for your review as an attachment. And that concludes item K.
All right, any questions? Dr. Shattuck, you have items L and M.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Ms. Ferry, Madam Chairwoman, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Item L is a series of 5 different technology purchases, and I'll go through them one by one. Number 1 is to Dell Marketing, and it's for Microsoft licenses. These are the licenses we need for the servers we have, for the desktop computers, for the Microsoft Office 365, et cetera. So all the Microsoft applications that we use, plus the software that run the servers, et cetera, this is the licensing for that software. The estimated cost of this would be $150,000. It will be paid for out of the fiscal year 16 general fund upon approval of the fiscal 16 budget. And it'll be the pricing that comes through this Georgia state contract. Any questions about
Any questions on that one?
the first one? Okay, the second one is also through Dell. It's for the laptop computers. It's also on the state purchasing contract. And we plan on approximate value of this purchase will be $500,000. The money will come out of fiscal year 15 and fiscal year 16 general funds money upon approval, of course, the fiscal year 16 budget. We'll be buying more laptop computers next year as we are transitioning to giving teachers laptops, computers, so they have more flexibility when they go to professional learning. They can take their own computer to professional learning. They can take their computer home and do work at home, looking up lesson ideas on the internet, et cetera. And we think this is a good thing to give teachers laptops so they have that flexibility. So if they do find something, they can save it on their desktop, on their laptop, and bring it to school, and they don't have to worry about flash drives and all those various things about their resources. So are there any questions about the laptop computers?
No. We can move on.
The third one of the 5 is the purchase of antivirus software. The software is called Sophos, and the reseller for it is MSC Wallace Company. It's through the Pepin Purchasing Cooperative. The approximate value of this is $28,000, and it will be paid for out of the FY16 general fund budget, assuming the board approves the 16 budget, and with that amount in it. We use this to protect the entire school system from getting viruses. So it goes on every computer, every desktop, every laptop, every server, et cetera. This is a security product that we need to protect the county.
Okay. Moving on.
The fourth item is some ViewPath infrastructure hardware, excuse me. The reseller is Audio Enhancement, but its products manufactured by Safari Montage. Audio Enhancement is the reseller for Safari Montage in Georgia. We're using the Pepin Purchasing Cooperative. The money will be coming out of FY15 general fund budget only, and the approximate cost would be $102,000. Now what this does, we'll be buying one large enterprise server and some solid state hard drives to speed up the processing power of this server so that we can process all the requests we're getting for Safari Montage content plus all the ViewPath videos that we're creating. We need to bulk up the infrastructure so we don't have any slowdowns and bog up the processing all these videos.
Okay.
The fifth item on the list is another audio enhancement product, and this is actually the ViewPath systems themselves. As you remember, 2 years ago, we had phase one in which we did the secondary schools with the ViewPath camera system. Last year, or this year, we did the secondary, meaning high school, middle school. This year, we did half of the elementary schools, putting ViewPath in every classroom. Next year, we're planning on putting ViewPath in the remaining elementary schools, so all the elementary schools will have a complete ViewPath system. We found the ViewPath system is extremely effective. I was out at Newton High School today talking to the principal, and they're very excited about moving forward with it and making sure that we're using it in instructional purposes for professional learning, and not just using it for monitoring their classroom as far as the behavior goes. So we're really moving in the right direction, using it for instructional purposes. The approximate cost on this is $1.27 million, and it's through the Pepin Purchasing Cooperative, and it'll be paid for out of the capital funds money.
Okay. If there's any questions, thank you.
And if I may add to this, there are some classrooms in the secondary schools which did not get implemented in the first phase, and so next year we'll be coming back again with a much smaller amount of requests for money to finish out those remaining classrooms. Thank you very much.
I believe you've got the next one as well, Dr. Shattuck.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Got so tied up with that.
Item
So
M.
many on that one. My apologies.
No problem.
Item M. The superintendent recommends the annual renewable contract for interactive projectors be awarded to Howard Computers. The contract date will go from May 22nd of 2015 to May 21st, 2016. I originally thought we had put interactive projectors in Newton High School when we opened it up, and I originally thought when some new technology came onto the marketplace, those interactive panels, which the board has approved us to buy several months ago, that we would no longer be buying interactive projectors. I made a mistake. The schools have requested that they continue to be allowed to buy interactive projectors. This is a request coming from some of the schools. The reason why is it still has interactivity, but it's cheaper than the panels. And so they feel like they can afford this for those few classrooms that they're getting money in order to put this interactive projectors in. The request is coming primarily from elementary schools, and they're putting it into the pre-K classrooms, which has had no interactive devices in it ever that I'm aware of. Because primarily because the pre-K classes have their own money, so they cannot let. Title I does not fund pre-K classrooms, and so no Title I money can be spent on those classrooms. So this is an attempt to get interactive technology into the pre-K classrooms.
Okay. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Lockhart, we have one more item, item N.
Yes, ma'am. Personnel recommendations. The superintendent requested the board approve the personnel recommendations made during the executive session.
All right, thank you. We have a motion to approve item N.
So moved.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Other matters of interest?
Yes, Madam Chair. First, I would like to recognize the board for fulfilling their whole board governance training. We recently attended a workshop at Griffin Teresa, and I would like to hand to each of you your certificates of completion. Ms. Henderson Baker, Ms. Coggan, Mr. Edwards, Mr. Johnson, and Mr. Turner. Training for our board members is very important, and For the record, our board is very committed to ensuring that they meet all of the training requirements, and this satisfies the whole board governance training, and it was a great pleasure to be in attendance with you and to learn more about board governance. In addition, we also have a retirement dinner at Newton College and Career Academy on May the 14th. It will begin at 7 p.m. And believe it or not, graduations are right around the corner. We will convene at Springfield Baptist Church on May the 22nd at 8 p.m. for the graduation of students at Eastside High School. On May 23rd, we will convene at Springfield Baptist Church at 9 a.m. for the graduates of Alcovey High School. And then finally, in the afternoon at 3 p.m., we will convene to support and to graduate the students who are eligible for graduation at Newton High School. It's always an exciting time of the year, and it just always seems to get here a lot quicker than every year goes by. It gets here faster. So we look forward to both of those events and our graduations.
All right, thank you. Any other matters of interest?
I have something, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Superintendent Fury, I want to thank you for the budget proposals you put forth for the board. It makes it quite easy when they're put in that format and those particulars are highlighted and on behalf of the teachers, you know, for attempting to get them back, make them whole again. It's I'm sure it means a lot to them too. So I want to thank you for those budget proposals.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.